got to do an intro first. That's let you know. On this week's episode, Josh Pederson and I break down The Dark Tower and gauge what kind of success this latest Stephen King adaptation will have at the box office this weekend. We'll also talk the past, present, and future of the Indiana Jones franchise and decide if it's really worth going back for the hidden treasure one more time. We also share our thoughts on what could be the real reason behind the delay of Red Dead Redemption 2 and what sequel to a cult hit has both of us very excited. All this plus a clip from the latest Topicocalypse, and Elijah Harrison, aka Plasma Z, stops by with his latest song and shares his thoughts on the trouble with SoundCloud. It's another podcasting army of super troopers we have for you today as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. It's another podcasting battalion of super troopers we have for you today. I don't like that one. It's another podcasting army of It's another podcasting battalion of super troopers we have for you today as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to the show. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We really, 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 really appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. And thanks so much to Elijah Harrison, aka Plasma Z, for joining us on the program, sharing his thoughts on the future of SoundCloud. If you have any questions on SoundCloud or just want to share your comments, are you a user or do you like to listen to artists off of SoundCloud? Are you concerned about their future? Share us your thoughts on Pop Culture Cosmos and Yahoo.com. But I'm here back again with my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanican Media. He is the all-knowing, the all-powerful, the all-mysterious. It's Josh Pederson. What's up?
What up? In my all-powerfulness, I just changed your Lakers flag to a Kings flag, and I changed it back, so you might not notice it.
Okay, fair enough indeed. But I tell you what, it's not bad at all being a Kings fan, because I am also a Kings fan, not as devoted as you are when it comes to the LA Kings. But I tell you what, I still think of them very fondly because they both played about let's say 1 block away from where I was born in Inglewood, California. So I have a very soft spot for both the Kings and the Lakers indeed. But I won't go there. So tell me, Josh, you've got a lot of stuff now back into the fire because you're back into the mix because you're back in doing everything that's great with Humanican Media. So tell me, what's back with what's going on with Humanican Media?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on. Yeah, it's kind of getting back into this. Is actually my 3rd podcast today, so that's kind of a new record for me.
It is indeed. So tell me, what are the other podcasts that you were working on today?
So first off, we recorded a new episode of Topicocalypse, and it's actually the audio quality. I'm telling you, man, it's right on. And so you'll be able to hear that next week. And then we also have a Super BS coming at you on Monday. And this is probably one of the best episodes I've done, I feel like. And there's a new. What about this coming next week? I know we're kind of falling behind on our scheduling here, but yeah, stay tuned. So next week we'll have something for you.
But still, there's a lot of great things going down the pike, and also we mustn't forget that every Tuesday night on the Podcast Radio Network, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, is Attack of the Humanicans. So that's definitely something to look forward to as well, because there's always exclusive content for that specific show. There's exclusive content for that specific show, I must say. So definitely something to look forward to. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network. So I tell you what, it's been a great time right now for Stephen King fans. We talked about on the last episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos about all the great adaptations that are in the works. But I think the most important one that's riding on, with definitely a lot of interest and also a lot of dollars behind it, is The Dark Tower. So I ask you, Josh, as a big fan of The Dark Tower, who will be seeing it this weekend with great anticipation, what are you looking forward to from The Dark Tower, and how well do you think it will play out with audiences this weekend?
Honestly, I'm just looking forward to seeing how they adapt it, because it's the source material is so massive. Like, everyone calls it Stephen King's magnum opus, and I think that's why the initial reviews coming out, like, people are saying they don't like it because I'm thinking that they don't understand it. Like, I haven't seen it yet, and I'm going to this weekend, but it's hard to take that story. Like, if you were to just pick up The Gunslinger, I know we were talking about this before we started, but if you were to pick up The Gunslinger, the first book, and you were to read it from cover to cover, you would think that it was like a very cool stylized book, but you wouldn't get it. You'd have to read the next book. Like, honestly, you have to go from book 1 to book 7 to fully grasp the scope of the Dark Tower series. So I know that they're doing a movie. It's going into a television show, and then they're doing more movies. So I think that once the story gets further along, the people who didn't like this movie will start to see where it's going, or at least that's my hope.
Well, I hope. Well, I definitely think that could be the case as well, with a lot of audiences that are still out in that summer type of form and type of mind frame, may want to go see that. Just what is the latest movies that are out? They want to go see it, so they'll be, I think, still be wanting to go to see something like the Dark Tower, in a lot of masses, and I think it still will do okay. I still think it will do pretty well at the box office. Studios are targeting around the 20 million mark, similar to what happened last week with the Emoji Movie and Atomic Blonde. They're both targeted right around 20, 22 million, and that both one underperformed and one overperformed those expectations. But it looks like the Dark Tower still may win out the weekend. But for something that kind of was maybe expected to do a little bit more, be a little bit more for fans, maybe that's the best you're going to get. But I tell you what, can it do well consistently over the long haul, over the next month or so, to maybe reignite that passion people have for the Stephen King franchise? You think it'll have some legs and be able to provide some decent quality money for Sony this August?
I would hope so, because look at Dreamcatcher. That was another one that wasn't so well received by critics, but it started to catch on, like, once it hit DVD and Netflix. So I'm hoping that the Dark Tower will end up being kind of like that. But like I said, it's such a massive story, and it's so hard to get the finer details into an hour and a half. So I'm hoping that it's good, and I'm hoping that it's not just I'm hoping it's a matter of confusion and not just bad filmmaking, if that makes sense.
That it does. I'm just hoping as well that it will be something that will bring audiences in. Although at a scant 90 minutes, that kind of has me worried as far as the actual movie itself, because as we talked about before the show, I mean, if you're trying to encompass any amount of these 7 different stories encapsulating the Dark Tower series, doing it in 90 minutes seems rather difficult, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what didn't really make sense to me, is that he took such a, because granted, The Gunslinger, like the first book in the series, is the shortest, and it's it's confusing too, because a lot of people are saying, just because the way the Dark Tower ends, some people are saying that this is actually a sequel to the book. So I won't really know what to think until I see it, but yeah, that's incredibly short, because just from what I'm seeing in the trailers, they took parts from like so many different books and they shoved them into this one movie, kind of like they did with John Carter of Mars, in which case I'm really hoping that it's not like John Carter of Mars in that aspect.
And I hope so too, because it just really just kind of has me on the fence. Very concerned if I should go see it, and if because the fact it's so short and the adaptation it's working off of is so long and detailed. So I'm concerned that it will be able to not really justify taking that adaptation in the first place with so little taken from it within a 90-minute frame span. But also as well, there's, when you talk about adaptations, so many others, even if it's been a long movie, 2-3 hours, or even a series, like even Lord of the Rings series, take that for instance. I mean, my goodness, that series is basically been weeded out through 6 2 to 3 hour movies, and still there's so much left that wasn't covered in the Tolkien books. So
I feel like too, Sony is they haven't had a lot of good luck with major properties, so I think that there is some weariness on their part too, because I don't imagine you can write a script based on the Dark Tower series and have it come out at anything less than 2 hours.
Well, I agree with you there, but it's still placing it where they have is actually a smart move, because August looks like, as we talked about before on our summer preview a couple months ago, that this was probably the weakest month and the weakest August I could remember in quite a long spell. And it could be anyone's ball game as far as who will come out in the month of August. My goodness, Dunkirk, for all we know, could actually be the top grossing film in August, which would be kind of disappointing indeed, because that came out in July. Although that's a great movie, mind you, but still the fact that it came out 2 weeks before August even started would tell you something there. So if The Dark Tower doesn't succeed, what movie in August will? I'm kind of finding it hard to see what movie is really going to break out this August, but still at least one movie has got to do so, in my opinion. I mean, before in the past, we've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, and we've seen other films in August have good fortune there. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Dark Tower could be that breakout hit. What are your thoughts on the Dark Tower? Is it something that you're going to see? Is it something that you're excited about? Or are you a little bit worried because of the runtime, reviews that are shaky, or the actual fact that the substance material is just not what you're looking for in a fantasy movie? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Humanican Media, Pop Culture Cosmos, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Back with the PCC Multiverse, my name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast as always. I just want to say thank you to everyone out there that also downloads the show each and every week. We truly appreciate it, because I'll tell you what, the numbers come in. We're just surprised each and every time with each week when we see more and more people downloading the show as well. And you can also get the shows, like I said, via download and streaming on iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Ace Podcast, the Ace Podcast Network, Overcast.fm, Player.fm, Google Play, Stitcher, Podcast.com, Mixcloud, the ESO Network, the Tangibound Network, and the Gunna Geek Network as well. And if you do download or stream our shows via one of those outlets, we throw in bonus material. Like this week, we're going to throw a Topicocalypse in there for you, but sometimes Super BS Gamescast, sometimes something from Rob McCallum Films, maybe Game Source, maybe Wine, Women, and Words. We throw a lot out there, and we're looking for more podcasts out there that want to go ahead and be that bonus material. So send us, if you're interested, send us your thoughts, send us your suggestions, on popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. So it was an interesting conversation that was conducted over the past week in regards to Steven Spielberg and his thoughts on the Indiana Jones series. And your thoughts, first off, Josh, on the Indiana Jones series as it hits to number 5 coming, I believe, in 2020. Is that correct?
Right now it is. Refresh my mind on the articles. It said that the Temple of Doom was his least favorite, right?
Yeah, I was going to touch on that next, and it was going to basically, they were questioning him on what they thought was the least favorite of his, and it's actually mine as well. I know a lot of people do not like and do not care for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I do not care for that movie either, but Temple of Doom is probably one of the worst movies of the 1980s, in my opinion. It just is trash all the way through, and is probably Steven Spielberg's worst movie to date, in my opinion.
It's weird because to me, it's like, first of all, I hated Kingdom Skull, did not like it one bit, but I did.
And I'm not saying I liked it either. I'm not saying I liked it either, but I'm just saying for me, Temple of Doom hits a new low.
But Crystal of Skull, the Kingdom Skull, I liked it in the fact that I was glad to have a new Indiana Jones to watch after so long. So it hit me in the nostalgia sake, but the story just, I don't know, like it feels like it's a recycled theme. But as for Temple of Doom, to me, it's like, no, don't get me wrong, I love the Indiana Jones series, and I love going back and watching them occasionally, but to me, it's like like Mortal Kombat. So like Mortal Kombat, when I was a kid, freaking fantastic movie. Loved it. I would watch it over and over again. But I watched
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Johnny Cage, fight for your. But I mean, like, I watched it as an adult. Like, I bought it on Blu-ray a few years ago, and I tried to watch, and I was just like,
and the cheese runs through, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just garbage. But to me, it's the same thing with Temple of Doom. So Temple of Doom was like the forbidden Indiana Jones movie because it shows that guy getting his heart ripped out. So I remember as a kid, my parents wouldn't let me watch that one. And that was the novelty of it, was all these kids. It's like The Hangover or Deadpool, you know, they're like, our parents don't want us to watch this, so we're going to try our very best to watch this. And that's what made it so cool to us as kids. But like, I go back and I watch it now, and it just doesn't sit well with me.
And that's the only seemingly decent part, is when, the shaman tries to reach in and grab Indy's heart as well. But to me, it's like 2 hours of scratching on the chalkboard with not only the little kid, who I think was also in the Goonies as well, and pretty much just as annoying. And then also as well, Steven Spielberg's future wife happened to be actually in the movie, and she was extremely whiny throughout. And both of those two combined, and the overacting and the whining on both of their parts, just 2 hours just like grating at me, and just was really just irritating beyond all description for me. And just so disappointing, because I love Steven Spielberg's work. The Last Crusade and Raiders of the Lost Ark are true pieces of art, and true masterpieces indeed. And definitely his work otherwise has been, very, very good to great for many, many years. There's some misses here and there, but for the most part, it's been really, really good over the years. And he's one of the great directors of our time. So I'm going to put that out there. But yeah, definitely, Temple of Doom is just trash to me.
Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think that Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Last Crusade stand out more because there is more, I guess, more excitement, more traveling, more destinations, more story, whereas opposed to Temple of Doom, you basically arrive at the place where the temple is, and that is over half the movie.
That's also a part of it, but to me, again, great deal of it was just the simple fact that the casting and the interaction, and even Harrison Ford in the movie was one of my all-time favorite actors, was just kind of almost mailing it in for a great majority of the movie. And that when he turned into a mindless zombie-like individual, I thought really it wasn't really differentiating itself much from the rest of the movie in his acting and his performance, because he seemed like a zombie throughout the entire flick. I actually like the first, if anything, the opening bit, I guess, where they were at. Was it Shanghai? I forget where they were at when they were in the club there in the beginning. I think that was probably the most enjoyable part of the movie, which was very sad indeed for me. But I'll tell you what, that's my thoughts. Is that your worst movie too? Is the Temple of Doom, or do you think that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is that much worse, or like you said, or like you were inferring, I think that the first and third Indiana Jones are so well made and so well done that it really stands out above the other two by far, leaps and bounds, by leaps and bounds indeed.
Yeah, no, I agree with you in that. And as far as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull goes, like I honestly don't even rank that movie with the other three Indiana Joneses. I don't know why. It's just there's such a big disconnect between the original trilogy and the new one that I don't really even relate the four movies together. But yeah, I feel like, because this is the order I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, Last Crusade, and then I saw Temple of Doom years later after I saw those two movies. And like those two, the first and third movie will always stand out in my mind as like one of the upper echelons of Spielberg filmmaking.
And the third movie, The Last Crusade, it wasn't really the plot that was really that super or anything like that. It was the interaction between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, which was just truly hilarious, truly awesome. That's what really made it, put it over the top for me, as far as that interaction between the two is priceless. And one of the great, almost like a buddy comedy for the entire movie that just had me in stitches the whole time. So that's really what made it enjoyable for me nonstop. But
you also have like the stuff with the snakes and the rats and stuff. So like, as if you're watching as a kid, you're like, "Ooh, this is creepy and it's cool, and I don't want to stop watching it."
Exactly. So it's just, I'm hoping for good things with the next installment, which like as of now it's looking around 2020. So your thoughts on where the Indiana Jones franchise could possibly go in the future, because the past has been all over the place as far as from a standard of quality is concerned. So your thoughts on where this series can go?
This is going to sound cliched, but I feel like we're overdue for Indiana Jones in ancient Egypt. Or even like, they pulled it off well in Uncharted, the search for like Shambhala or something like that. Because I know Spielberg is willing to tackle the Crystal Skull topic, that I don't really think mythical objects is out of the question for him, because I feel like he has to raise the stakes somehow.
Or even Greece, ancient Greece as well. So that's something that they've never tackled as well.
Right. So there's a lot of source material. There's a lot of history out there. A lot of, even searching for, a lost pirate ship or something. I feel like that's not beyond his scope of reasoning. But I hope that it's something that is plausible in the, a little bit. So this is why I always compare, I always say like Uncharted is the Indiana Jones of video games. And I absolutely love that franchise. But I like the way that the writers of the game handle mythical things. So like, what was the is it the first or second one that has they go to, I think it's Shambhala or the Lost City, and has like the blue zombie guys?
Yeah, the first one, they go and discover El Dorado.
Yeah,
that has the original zombie guys, and then with each successive game in the series, they kind of got away from the mysticism less and less as far as that's concerned. From the first one, where spoilers, with the fourth one, they just dealt with realistic human interaction for the most part, and didn't want to deal with the mysticism on the least. But I think you're talking Shambhala, they were also dealing with the blue creatures and whatnot in the second one. With all the ice and whatnot. That was what many consider is the best of the series, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. So that's definitely a great one indeed. One of my all-time favorites. Not my favorite Uncharted by a hair, but when you're splitting such great games, all four of them, it's really just splitting hairs indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, excellent franchise, love, and I can't wait to play the add-on that's coming out this month. But what I was getting at with like them handling mysticism is they handle it in a way to where it's still unbelievable, but it's plausible. So I'm hoping that if Spielberg is to go that route, I think he is directing the new Indiana Jones, correct? So I'm hoping if they go that route, that they will, keep it fantastic and unbelievable, but keep it grounded in a way, unlike the Crystal Skull was.
Couldn't agree with you more on that. Those are some great points indeed. What are your thoughts on the Indiana? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts are? What are your thoughts on the Indiana Jones series? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. On the best? Do you like the third one? Do you like the second or fourth? Or what is it that makes Indiana Jones as a movie series stand out to you? And which ones did not meet the mustard as far as either Temple of Doom, Crystal Skull, or maybe The Last Crusade, even as far as in your eyes, as far as Indiana Jones franchise? And do you think the Indiana Jones franchise should continue forward from here? Share us your thoughts. Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanican Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. And we're back with a And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. I'm here along with my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanican Media. It's Josh Pederson. Just want to touch on real quickly. Also have our great show on Monday nights on the Podcast Radio Network, the Pop Culture Cosmos Show, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. The #1 show 5 months in a row, and it's all because of you. And also Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network. It's Attack of the Humanicans. Josh's great show right there for you as well. So Josh, 2K recently had its annual investors meeting, and we're talking over numbers and how well they're doing and all that. But one of the things that was also inquired upon was some of the reasoning and decision making behind delaying Red Dead Redemption 2 to 2018. I have some pointed thoughts on why I think RDR2 got the delay, but I want to hear your thoughts on why Red Dead Redemption 2 is not going to see the light of day with gamers until next year.
I think that it's a matter of, I think that 2K Games has kind of just rediscovered how popular Grand Theft Auto is. They re-released them on PS4 and Xbox, and especially with the Modern Nation coming out, I feel like they'd be dumb not to try to cash in on that fad while it's still popular. And I'm sure that once Red Dead comes out, people, they'll have less players on that scope. But I think it also has to deal with the fact that the Red Dead games, especially the last one, they are absolutely huge games. The open world is huge. Everything about the game is just massive. So personally, I'm okay with them taking more time or needing more time or whatever to finish the game. But as far as the Grand Theft Auto's popularity right now is kind of at an all-time high, so they should strike while the iron's hot. But at the same time, don't leave us hanging, who are us looking for Red Dead. I feel like if they're going to delay it, they need to at least keep pushing stuff out, show us some videos, keep getting us hyped for the game.
Well, I have a similar type of reasoning as well. I just think GTA 5 success is the reason why RDR2 is not seeing the light of day at this point in time, and it won't until 2018. You can tell me all the production delays you want. You could tell me about all the possibilities being endless that are being created that is causing it to be a little bit longer than originally anticipated. But I think the game is, for all intents and purposes, in the home stretch, and that they're just working out maybe some kinks and whatnot. But I think the game could have, in my heart, I think the game could have shipped when it was originally designed to do so, but got pushed back to 2018 because GTA 5 is doing so well. This is just my opinion and opinion only. I just see that when 2K announces during its investor meeting about how the GTA online community is larger than ever, and obviously the fact that GTA 5 is still 4 years, basically 4 years later, pretty much, still in the UK and the US in the top 5, if not number 1 on occasion each and every week and each and every month on the sales charts for video game sales. That's truly amazing that it has this kind of legs. I don't even think the previous GTAs, even though those games really had legs, that GTA 5 is consistently even beating those games as far as sales concerned, even that of recent hits that have long standing and still today, like Minecraft. It's just amazing how far and how much reach this game has received and how many sales it's garnered over the years. And I'll tell you what, GTA 5, I think, is just hitting such a sweet spot with audiences. There's no reason to bring an RDR out this soon.
It's showing, too, that the mod community is a massive community and that I'm pretty sure they're a really large chunk of gamers and they need to be catered to because that's a big market for them.
Oh, it's a huge... Oh, it's a huge market for them, but they still haven't even said when a PC version would be released after that, because right now all they have on the plate is PS4 and Xbox One. But one can assume that a PC version of RDR2 would be developed and be released somewhere near the release time, if not at the same time as the PS4 and Xbox One versions when it comes out in 2018. But that's my opinion, and I think you had some great thoughts as well on why RDR2 is really not going to see the light of day until 2018. But I just think it's all about GTA 5, and if GTA 5 is selling this well, you don't want I don't want to say similar, but in structure, it's going to be similar in the fact that it's going to have a robust open world. It's also going to have an active online community of its own. And you don't want, even though they say in statements and interviews that one is not going to cannibalize off each other, I disagree. I think once RDR2 comes out, like you said earlier, that it will cannibalize at least a portion of GTA 5's online community, and that might, finally spell some doom to that game being, going sliding down on the charts a little bit. But my gosh, I tell you what, any games design company and any publisher or any development company would just love to have that kind of sustainability in sales. I just didn't think, for all intents and purposes, that GTA 5 would continue to sell this big, this long, this well, this often. And just the future, it looks great for GTA 5 going forward for the rest of the year. So why bring out a game this soon when you have that kind of success going forward? What are your thoughts on Red Dead Redemption? What are your thoughts on Red Dead Redemption 2? If I could say that right. And it's delayed to 2018. Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Humanican Media, Pop Culture Cosmos, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. When we return, we're going to bring you a little clip from Topicocalypse, the latest one that's out, and then we're going to close the show with a sequel to a cult hit that Josh and I have some good words about that we're hoping will come out and is just as good as the original, but we're not quite sure when it's going to hit. We'll talk a little bit more about that after the break. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. I'm here along with my good friend, Mr. Josh Pederson of Humanican Media. And Josh, do you remember the beloved movie that actually thrilled a nation? Okay, well, it didn't thrill an entire nation, but it thrilled enough people to warrant a sequel eventually because it's been a cult hit for many years, and that's Super Troopers. Share us your thoughts on what you thought of the film when you first watched it.
Honestly, the first time through, I was wondering to myself, what the heck am I watching? And then eventually, like, I got to the part with the Winnebago, and I just started laughing uncontrollably, and then I loved the movie. So I watched it several times afterwards. But yeah, I didn't get into it until after it hit DVD. I never saw it in the theater, never heard of it. I was at Blockbuster. I was at Blockbuster one night, cruising through the DVDs.
Callback.
Yeah, and lo and behold, Super Troopers right there. Cops are upside down on the cover. I'm like, yeah, this could be funny. Watch it. Became an instant hit. Went out and bought all of Broken Lizard's movies after that. So I'm a huge fan. I'm super excited. This is one of those sequels. Like it's not quite the gap between Blade Runner 1 and 2, but it's pretty darn close. And I feel like it's going. They still have enough creds coming off of Beer Fest because that's still a classic movie that gets played on TV all the time. So I feel like it's one of those sequels that people will go and watch. And if anything, it might reinvest interest in the first one too.
Well, I also think that it's going to be at a similar cost to what the original Super Troopers will be relationship-wise, even though, yes, adjust for inflation and all that. But it will be a similarly low-budget film, so it will have low expectations.
Fox Searchlight, right? Their indie branch. So yeah, yes. I imagine it'll be pretty low budget.
Yeah, so it really will have a low threshold to break through in order to gain some type of success. So definitely looking forward to that as well, because like you, I thought the movie was just really a trip, and definitely an enjoying experience to watch, and just hilarious. Just best describes the movie itself. So definitely looking forward to seeing a Super Troopers 2, which has already wrapped up in production, but has yet to announce a release date. So who knows when it could come out? Maybe it's going to be something early next year, maybe something before the end of the year, but we'll keep you updated on when that might be. Check out Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. And as soon as we get word, or you check out our feed on Pop Culture Cosmo on Twitter, so you can get that constant news from pop culture. And as soon as we'll find out about the release date for Super Troopers 2, we'll go ahead and share that and pass that along with you. And Josh and I will be right there in the theaters once it comes out. So definitely looking forward to that indeed. What are your thoughts on a new Super Troopers coming out? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Are you excited for one? Do you really care? Do you even really know what the series is all about? Did you even see the first? Or do you really think this is one cult hit that is really not meant to have a sequel? Share us your thoughts, Pop Culture and Game Star on Twitter as well. Before we head on out, you want to share one last time what's going on with the wonderful happenings at Humanican Media?
Yeah, a lot of podcasts this week. So actually, you'll listen to next week. So you have the Topicocalypse new episode. I just put the last part of episode 2 up earlier today. You can download it now on podcast.com, and I think I did put it up on YouTube, so you can watch it on there too. But yeah, so we have a brand new Topicocalypse, a new Super BS Games cast, hopefully a new What About This, and there might be something else new brewing, assuming it happens. So I'll let you know as things develop there. And also a new Attack of the Humanicans on Tuesday night on the Podcast Radio Network.
That's right, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Check that out. And also the Monday show, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network. And if you can't catch it there, you can always download it on one of our many, many downloading and streaming options. So for Josh Pederson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening, and here's hoping you have yourself a great day.